How do we generate membership? How do we get Farm Bureau members more involved? What are some ways to get more county YFR programs in the state? These were some of the highlights of discussion during the 2014 Wyoming Farm Bureau annual meeting that the Young Farmer and Rancher Committee used in order to develop a work plan for 2015. This meeting sparked some great discussion and plans that are being implemented in order to provide answers to these questions. As a committee, our first order of business was presenting our Ag Books for Kids book, Extra Cheese Please, in the Bighorn Elementary School. We used this book as an opportunity for a fun activity of teaching the students how butter is made. The students are always excited to learn more about what we do. We answer many questions and help the students to recognize all the ways that agriculture is used in their everyday lives. After the trip to the school, YFR committee members shared the experience with other Farm Bureau members to take back to counties across the state. During the collegiate discussion meet, critical issues in American agriculture were discussed at Sheridan College, where there was a successful turnout in the amount of competitors in the contest. 15 competitors representing Sheridan College, Eastern Wyoming College, Northwest College, and the University of Wyoming entered the competition.
I really think about how agriculture is the background of our nation. And the more people we have that are backing up the American Farm Bureau Federation, the more numbers we have, the larger voice we have, and the more impact we have as an agricultural industry.
Each year, as a part of Harvest for All, the YFR committee raffles a quilt to help raise funds for the project. Lincoln County Farm Bureau member Iris Jasperson generously made and donated a handcrafted quilt. Each committee member purchased a piece of fabric that went into making a one-of-a-kind quilt. We would like to thank Iris for all that she does for Farm Bureau.
The Wyoming Farm Bureau Young Farmer and Rancher Committee joined up with the South Dakota Young Farmers and Ranchers to host our joint leadership conference in Deadwood, South Dakota. The two-day event began with a joint leadership training from American Farm Bureau's Kyle Perry. He challenged the committee members to start with why we do the work we do, rather than always focusing on what we do. The conference kicked off with a keynote presentation, Discovering Your Influential Power, by Troy and Stacy Hadrick, advocates for agriculture. The session began with a show of hands of who thought they were an influential person. Very few hands were raised, but by the end of the presentation that number changed and the majority of the room raised their hands. Troy and Stacy demonstrated how to be influential by reaching out to people, attending meetings, and being prepared to share your story and make it applicable to the person sitting next to you. Several breakout sessions were offered throughout the conference, including Wyoming Farm Bureau's Ken Hamilton offering a legislative update, and Telling Your Story Through Photography with Heather Hamilton Maud illustrating how effective a good photo can be to tell your ag story. Cheyenne attorney Harriet Hageman gave a critical analysis of conservation easements. Sessions also included beef reproduction strategies from Chandy Olson and grazing management with Dallas Mount of the University of Wyoming Extension.
A mock discussion meet was held during the conference showcasing the opportunities available to the young farmers and ranchers in this competitive event. The Wyoming Collegiate winner Bryce McKenzie won this mock discussion meet, which provided him with a great opportunity to practice for the national level competition. An afternoon of area agriculture tours, then a dinner in Sturgis concluded the conference. One tour stop was at Blair Brothers Angus Ranch. The Blair Brothers family focuses on breeding cattle that will excel in the pasture, the feedlot, and on the dinner plate. They are the founding members of U.S. Premium Beef, which guided their breeding objectives because they were shown the kind of carcasses for which the packing plant would pay a premium. The second tour stop was at High Plains Genetics LLC. That is a professional genetics and artificial insemination business.
The 2015 American Farm Bureau Federation Fusion Conference was held in Nashville, Tennessee, February 13th through the 16th. Wyoming Farm Bureau Collegiate Discussion Meet winner Bryce McKenzie from Northwest College represented Wyoming in the National Collegiate Discussion Meet. Those in attendance from Wyoming were YFR State Committee members Cole and Sammy Coxville, Coulter Schubel, and Tony Swartz, Albany County Farm Bureau member Laurel Austin, and Northwest College representatives Jason Horton, Tucker Johnson, Heather Olson, and Tamara Connolly.
Wyoming Governor Matt Mead proclaimed the week of March 9th as Wyoming Agricultural Literacy Week. The proclamation is part of the Wyoming Farm Bureau Young Farmer and Rancher Committee Ag Books for Kids program. The proclamation recognizes the importance of agriculture and educating school children through reading accurate books about agriculture. The children in attendance were especially excited to get a VIP invite to indulge in the governor's candy stash kept in his office safe. 2015 marks the 11th year of the Ag Books for Kids project.
I'm Cole Coxville with the Wyoming Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Rancher Committee.
And I'm Rachel Grant.
And we're here today at the Capitol building, and we met with the governor to sign the Wyoming Ag Literacy Proclamation for Ag Literacy Week. And it was got to meet with him and talk with him about agriculture and the importance of it.
Some of our kids were along with us, and they especially enjoyed that. It's pretty neat to get to go to the governor's office and just chat with him a little bit about why he really champions the cause of agriculture in the state of Wyoming, and what his office as well as members of the legislature do to recognize the importance of ag and work with groups like Farm Bureau to highlight that importance.
Five members of the Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation Young Farmer and Rancher Committee, along with the Wyoming Farm Bureau YFR coordinator Karen Clark, traveled to Washington, D.C. in May. The YFR D.C. trip provided an education opportunity as well as the opportunity to advocate for agriculture. Our first stop was at the American Farm Bureau Federation, where we met with President Bob Stallman and other members of the AFBF team to discuss issues that were pertinent to agriculture in the United States and the state of Wyoming. Those in attendance in Washington, D.C. were Kaylee Barlow, Kyle and Stacy Berger, Coulter Schubel, and Tony Swartz. Our next stop was the Department of the Interior with the Fish and Wildlife Service. We visited with them about wolves, sage grouse, and the black-footed ferret. We also discussed the pertinent issue regarding the Endangered Species Act and its need for revision. Of course, there was time for sightseeing, and the Washington Monument was a fun one. We also took the time to see the White House and take pictures in front of a building that housed so many of our presidents. It wasn't as white as I thought it was going to be. It was fun to have Karen's daughter Kadra with us on the trip. She definitely added some humor and fun. It was the first time for many of the committee members to visit Washington, D.C., and we were very thankful for the opportunity to go and represent Wyoming Farm Bureau. The Japanese Embassy was our next stop. They welcomed us with open arms and hospitality. We discussed how agriculture differs in Japan compared to the United States, and we learned that they depend heavily on our agriculture, where they import 60% of their food and 100% of animal feed. We also talked about ag trade and the Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Agreement. We toured the Capitol building and stood on the star that is right in the middle of Washington, D.C. Senator Barrasso was a pleasure to meet with as we discussed issues that were important to each individual's agriculture operation, as well as issues that were being brought up in Washington. We also had the pleasure of meeting with the staff of Senator Enzi and Cynthia Lummis. We know that in Wyoming we have excellent representation from our elected officials, and the American Farm Bureau Federation said our delegates are very supportive of the agriculture industry, and they have relied on them for their support on many different issues. We enjoyed our time doing business in Washington, D.C., but we had plenty of time for more sightseeing. Some of my favorite places to visit were the Lincoln Monument. We went up to the world's tallest stone structure, standing over 550 feet to the very top of the Washington Monument, and had the perfect view of Washington, D.C. from every direction. Not only was it an incredible view, but at times you could almost feel the monument swaying in the wind. Mount Vernon was a beautiful place that really showed the spirit of President George Washington and his leadership ability. It was encouraging to see how certain leaders in our country have changed the course of history because of their integrity and character. One person can make a difference.
In September, members gathered in Laramie at the University of Wyoming football game to volunteer their time at the YFR Harvest for All food drive at our Wyoming Celebrate Agriculture booth at Tailgate Park. Fans from around the state donated canned goods and monetary donations to the drive, which totaled 4,402 meals for the Wyoming Food Bank of the Rockies. Each donator received a gray Wyoming Farm Bureau Wyoming Needs Agriculture t-shirt. It was so exciting to see the generosity of the people of our state.